Well, thanks for jumping back in on what is Exponential Churches. This particular session that I'm going to cover is with a guy who's become a great friend. His name is Justin Miller at Real Life Church in Orlando, Florida. He's a young guy. Everybody's a young guy for me, but he's probably 47-ish or so. He's a great snowboarder and wakeboarder and surfer, kind of a guy. You wouldn't pick him out of a hat to be a senior pastor of a large, very large mega church, huge one, out in Orlando. And the thing that's unique about him is every pastor that I've met really deep down has a life message. And that life message that God give him is, God is crazy about you. They open the services and they close the services with that slogan. In fact, we're having the privilege of being able to write that book, partner with him, come alongside, and then create that book that is going to be kind of a giveaway that they do on the weekend. We're doing a big church-wide campaign and a beautiful town hall-like curriculum for it, and we're kind of coaching them over the year. But that is the crown jewel of what we're doing with him. He's coming back out here, and we're going to help him roll up our sleeves and make it happen. But some of the distinct things that Justin is doing that I think is really powerful, as I was kind of with him and on the campus, and I've got to know him and his team over this last season, is there's just intentionality in a lot of things that they're doing. First and foremost, he is, unlike a lot of churches, doing a different kind of a format for a weekend service. His is a little bit more conversational. Once a year, he does an interview format that he calls stories. So he brings very unique, sometimes edgy folks up on the stage and interviews them. This particular person is a Christ follower that lived a lifestyle of another kind, like many people in the Bible where Jesus called them, that people called them prostitutes and loved on them. This woman runs a ministry called Hookers for Christ, if you can believe that. As I'm there, I didn't know that was coming. And like a lot of people, but where she went was so powerful what God has done in and through her life. But it's a whack in the side of the head. And that's what he does. He doesn't let them sit and soak and just think church as usual. On the other hand, they had a beautiful communion service. Beforehand, they had an amazing, just action-packed worship set. And this was even, believe it or not, with that topic, they had their small group launch. And so I went in with the guys in the gymnasium and saw they laid out all the different ministries that had small groups and the different people that were trying to put people into groups. And they tried to do that little matchmaking process, had great success. They got 52 new leaders out of the first service and about 150 or so people that committed to going to a group, and rang a big bell when someone made the decision to jump in. It was really fun to be able to see what and how they did what they did. But you go into their quad and they had a band from the youth group that kind of put together and they just kind of jammed. They had hot kettle corn that they were cooking outside because he's a guy who likes fun, wants church to be fun. He grew up right across the street with his mom and kind of went to the school that was there and kind of grew up and was the youth pastor, and now he's the senior pastor, and just a very unique guy. I even had the ribs that they were serving. I was kind of hungry when I got there, and we had ribs. It was so much fun. There's a lot of things that I just want to remember, some of the things that I think are fun about what they did. They did the giving, and there was a sermonette that they gave to kind of set that up. I want to play just a short clip so you can hear and see how they kind of raised the bar for how and why we're given during the offering.
And so on a Thanksgiving, we give back to Him. This isn't a have-to thing. This isn't a get-to thing. And when God sees that kind of attitude in our giving, oh man, He's blessing you. Lives are being changed almost daily, hourly. Like God is doing some great things through our giving and what we're doing here together as a church. And so I would ask you to join me in prayer, because our ushers are going to come up here in just a second. For those of you that haven't given online, this will be the opportunity to do so. Hey, would you join me in prayer? God, we love you. We thank you for what you're doing for us. We thank you that we have a place like this to come and to worship you. And God, as we get ready to hear this story of how you just changed someone's life, I pray that this offering will be used and it will change other people's lives. Help this to be done. In the name of Jesus, we say it together. Amen.
Well, you can see that they raised the bar by having people recognize there is a purpose and there's a reason why one could give. They also made that comment, if you haven't given online. The evolution of people giving online, especially not coming as frequently, is an important thing for the overall health of the church. And recognize the audience behind on the other side. They have multiple multi-campuses, but even if you don't, the fastest growing thing in any church in America right now is their online campus, so their online congregation. And that's one of the things we're spending a lot of time coaching coaching churches in on how to take that to the next level. How do you get greater engagement? How do you get them to listen longer, go deeper, say yes to more commitments, and frankly, get them on to come back, give them a reason to, and to cast vision for them, but to stay focused on that camera some, not just talking over here, but they talk to it. Multiple churches we're working with are really developing in this particular category. Well, the last thing on this that I think is an emerging trend is what Justin is doing is kind of a functional podcast. So once a week he does a live video interview with somebody, and he's done 125 of these. He calls them real life. They're now broadcasting on all kinds of different airways and such. But essentially it's a very powerful, engaging interview with somebody of unique flavor. And it's not just church people. It's far broader than that. But pastors doing, a podcast is fairly easy these days, and it's another way to go reach people. If they're not coming as often, we got to figure out ways to bring church to them. So another great example of what it looks like for an exponential church. Justin is one of the fastest growing churches in America right now, and hopefully a little taste of why that's happening. So we're looking forward to being able to work with him this next year and help take the church next level, both deeper and a little wider. Thanks again.